It's Thursday, January 29th, 2026, a pretty damning video. We've had one government shutdown, yes, but have we had second government shutdown and an economic doom in one shot? Next on the AM Update. This is a pretty damning video. This was confirmed by the BBC, CBS News, and others. It features, we think, one Alex Pretti. We don't know when this video is dated, but it shows, well, we'll just let you watch it for yourself.
This is a moment the news movement filmed on January 13th in Minneapolis, showing a man who appears to be Alex Pretti interacting with federal immigration agents 11 days before Border Patrol shot and killed him. Our footage was analyzed by the BBC, whose facial recognition technology confirmed his identity to a 97% degree of accuracy.
So there you have it.
On the morning of January 13th,
Alex Pretti being seen on video. We don't know if this was the incident, we should say, that CNN reported on earlier this week, where he said, or at least through one of his buddies, that he broke his ribs in an altercation with the Federals. Here he is, at least in another, maybe it is the same instance, but another instance, clear as day, on video, kicking the tail light out of a vehicle that belongs to, I think Customs and Border Patrol probably is who that belongs to. That's a pretty, see the play on words there? That's a pretty damning video. He wasn't just some peaceful protester that we've been told in the media. He wasn't just some peaceful protester. Here he is on at least one other occasion getting extremely aggressive and violent with federal immigration enforcement officers. That was a big news yesterday afternoon. Also it's looking more and more likely that there's going to be at least a partial government shutdown. On Polymarket, the odds of the U.S. government shutting down this weekend have hit 69%. Nice. This comes as the White House invited rank-and-file Senate Democrats to discuss government funding options, but they declined, instead opting to unveil a list of demands to rein in immigration and customs enforcement agents in exchange for their votes to avert a shutdown. A senior White House official told Fox in a statement, quote, "The White House hopes to avoid another debilitating government shutdown and invited Democrats for a listening session to better understand their position. It's unfortunate their leadership has blocked the meeting." I've seen it reported that essentially one of the Democrats' demands to keep the government open is in a lot fewer words than what they're actually asking for. They're basically asking for mass amnesty, meaning that they're trying to tie the wrists of immigration enforcement by basically making it law that the federals can only arrest individual illegal aliens after they have committed, from this point in time, not any past crime from the last 4, 5, 10 years, only after this point in time will any illegal alien who has committed a crime be eligible for arrest and detainment by ICE or Border Patrol. Just ridiculous stuff. And I think that's probably dead on arrival, which means it sounds like the government is going to shut down again. President Trump posted on Truth Social yesterday, quote, "A massive armada is heading to Iran. It's moving quickly with great power, enthusiasm, and purpose. It's a larger fleet headed by the great aircraft carrier Abraham Lincoln than that sent to Venezuela. Like with Venezuela, it is ready, willing, and able to rapidly fulfill its mission with speed and violence if necessary. Hopefully, Iran will quickly come to the table and negotiate a fair and equitable deal. No nuclear weapons, one that is good for all parties. Time is running out. It is truly of the essence." So maybe we're not done with the Iran story yet. It seems like that story, Iran and all those protests, that seems like a long time ago. Let's go back to Capitol Hill, where in the Senate, Senator Marco Rubio was called to testify in front of a Senate panel. Here he is, proving that Senator Tammy Duckworth, I believe, of the state of Washington, truly out of her depth, in over her head.
Groups and criminal gangs that are targeting the United States for criminal activity.
We're in a state of war.
There's no doubt about the fact that we're confronting them in a war-like setting because they're waging war
apply and do the Geneva Convention
They're waging
apply?
war against us and their enemy combatants as a result of it. And the fact of the matter is that we are confronting these irregular groups, and that's one of the great challenges of the new century in this hemisphere in particular, is that these non-state actors who possess state-like capabilities in terms of their weaponry pose a grave danger to the United States. I don't think any American would dispute that we have cartels that pose a threat to the national security
with all of the other laws of when it comes to warfare. I mean, you're saying that he can invoke this wartime power.
No, I'm saying, you're asking me, I'm here to discuss foreign policy and what's in the realm of the Department of State.
Well,
I think your questions are better directed at the Department of Justice.
Enemies Act,
but I would tell you that,
which is a wartime, which is something that
but you're asking me a question
that can be invoked during wartime.
But you're
It's
asking
only
me a
been
question
invoked during the War of
that's more
1812, World War I, and World War II.
You're
It's only been invoked 3 times, and this president is invoking it.
Okay, you're asking me a question about the domestic application of a law that's best directed to the Department of Justice.
It's
no,
not
it
a
is
complication.
because
it's
you're asking
simple.
me something to opine on something that's in the realm of the Department of Justice in terms of its domestic application. I can tell you that the United States is most certainly confronting terrorist and criminal organizations operating in our hemisphere that pose a grave danger to the United States. Anyone who believes that gangs that flood our country with fentanyl or cocaine are not threats to the United States is not living in reality and certainly does not reflect the opinion of most Americans.
The president already said that he was ready to put American troops in Venezuela again. So we're at war right now. So if things don't go well with the Chavistas you've empowered,
when did the president say he was going to put troops in Venezuela?
A military option, what is your criteria for returning to a military option and putting boots on?
Well, I don't recall the president saying he's going to put troops in Venezuela. Where did he say that?
I'm asking you, what are your...
But that's what you said. I didn't remember
the president has already said that he was ready to put American troops in Venezuela.
No, I think the president has said that he retains the right as commander-in-chief to protect the United States against any imminent threats. Maybe that involves troops. Maybe that involves air power. We hope, but we don't anticipate that being the case in Venezuela.
I worry that
Senator Tammy Duckworth of Illinois said Washington earlier. So many really brain-dead Democrats from so many different states completely falling flat on her face. Marco Rubio made mincemeat yesterday of those senators who tried to question him on the topic of Venezuela. Once again, Marco Rubio acquitting them of their notions that this was somehow not in America's best interests to go into Venezuela and make sure that a guy who has been causing a lot of problems for America is no longer doing so. Now's the part of the show where we talk about screw around, find out. The state of Florida has revoked this woman's nursing license for making these comments on video. Listen to this.
And delivery nurse. It gives me great joy to wish Caroline Levitt a 4th-degree tear. I hope that you rip from bow to stern and never normally again, you
Lovely people. Lovely people. James Uthmeyer, the Attorney General for Florida, along with Florida Surgeon General Joe Ladapo, are behind the move to strip her, that would be Lexi Lawler, of her nursing license for those comments. In case you didn't know, our White House Press Secretary Caroline Levitt, who this Lexi lady was talking about, she is expecting another child. And this woman, this nurse, just says, I hope you get the worst type of tear that you could possibly get. And she works in healthcare as well. Glad to see some consequences. We also saw some consequences, finally, in the Twin Cities. We'll talk about those in a little bit. But first, Jerome Powell at the Federal Reserve says there's not going to be any changes to the interest rates. Watch this.
My colleagues and I remain squarely focused on achieving our dual mandate goals of maximum employment and stable prices for the benefit of the American people. The U.S. economy expanded at a solid pace last year and is coming into 2026 on a firm footing. While job gains have remained low, the unemployment rate has shown some signs of stabilization, and inflation remains somewhat elevated. In support of our goals, today the Federal Open Market Committee decided to leave our policy rate unchanged.
So Jerome Powell, we're a long ways away from we're really concerned about these tariffs. He's now saying, hey, the economy looks like it's on firm footing, which makes me really nervous about the state of the economy, to be honest with you, if Jerome Powell is saying that. But he says, hey, the economy is on firm footing, Everything looks great, and that's why we're not lowering interest rates. We'll see. We shall see. I told you this was a screw around, find out section of the montage. First, we go to Minnesota yet again, where Governor Tim Walz actually had something nice to say about an official doing immigration enforcement. That would be one Tom Homan. Here he is on CNN.
First of all, the meeting with Tom Homan, how did that go? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, Tom Homan's a professional, which is a lot more than Bovino and...
Whoa, a professional Nazi? I mean, it was like 5 minutes ago, Tim Walz was calling the entire Trump administration, was calling Customs and Border Patrol, calling ICE SS, saying the Anne Frank of our generation is going to be written about by the children of Minnesota, or about the children of Minnesota. Now he's calling one of these SS agents. Well, he's a professional SS agent, and God darn it, I can work with professionals. Give me a break. Also yesterday, arrests. I like arrest stories. Attorney General Pam Bondi says she and the FBI, Department of Justice, arrested 16 Minnesota rioters for allegedly assaulting federal law enforcement. She says to expect more arrests to come. 16 individuals, including one individual by the name of Nasra Ahmed. Now, who is Nasra Ahmed? You know who Nasra Ahmed is. I told you who Nasra Ahmed was earlier this week. This is Nasra Ahmed.
So I'm Somali. I'm proud to be Somali. To me, being Somali isn't just eating bananas with rice. It's a lot. It's like it's an interesting thing. It's very hard to describe what it means to be Somali and what it means to be American, but it's like a cultural fusion. It's kind of like the bananas and rice. You know, people don't really...
Is being in prison like bananas and rice?
Like, you know,
can you eat bananas and rice in prison? Because that's what you're accused of. You're accused of assaulting law enforcement. Pretty incredible stuff, if you ask me. That's going to do it for this segment. When we come back, we're going to talk about just two more items. One chart that spells economic, civilizational doom. Also, our poll of the week. What do you think is going on with President Trump's handling of the matter of Minnesota? We'll talk about that next. All right, just a couple more items to catch up with this morning. This is a post that went viral, 6 million views almost, on X the other day. It shows a chart, prices for large categories of items in the last 25 years. These categories, like hospital services, college and tuition fees, college textbooks, childcare, nursery, school, medical care services, average hourly wages, housing, food and beverages, new cars, household furnishings, clothing, cell phone services, computer software, toys, and TVs. I call this chart economic doom and really civilizational doom in one chart. Here's why. There are a number, about half the chart, are prices that have held steady or gone down, like the price of TVs, on average down 98.1% in the last 25 years. 98.1% down from the year 2000. Computer software down 73%, toys down 74%, cell phone services down 44%, clothing only a 1.5% change in the last 25 years. Household furnishings, only a 21.4% change upwards in the last 25 years. Less than 1% a year. New cars, up in price about 1% a year. 25.8%. Here's what has exploded in cost, though, over the past 25 years. Food and beverages, up 105%. Housing, up 111%. Average hourly wages up 131%. Medical care services up 147%. Child care and nursery school up 158%. College textbooks up 176.9%. College tuition up 196%. And, of course, hospital services, 281% increase in the last 25 years. Now, let's go back through this chart yet again. The opposite direction. Hospital services, 281% higher than it was 25 years ago. Something the government has its hand in a lot. College tuition and fees, something the government has its hand in a lot. College textbooks, related to something the government has its hand in a lot. Child care and nursery school, well, we just saw the Somalian fraud alleged that Nick Shirley exposed on YouTube. And other places around the country, the government increasingly having its hand in a lot. Medical care services, something the government is deeply involved with a lot. Average hourly wages, both at the federal and many states have their own federal minimum wage. Those have exploded. Housing, something the government increasingly has its hand in. 111% more expensive than 25 years ago. Food and beverages, welfare. WIC, SNAP. SNAP, mostly, for this, for these purposes, up 105%. New cars, not really something the government has its hand in yet. Only up by about a percentage point a year. Household furnishings, not something the government has a hand in, up only 21%. Clothing, not something the government really has that much of a hand in, up 1% in 25 years. Cell phone services, not really something the government has a hand in, and at least not in subsidizing. Computer software, not in subsidizing, down in price, down in cost. Toys, down in cost. Government not really subsidizing that. I'm sure they're subsidizing somewhere, somehow, all of these things. It's just not a national federal service. And TVs, down almost 100%. They're next to nothing compared to what they were in the year 2000. Again, all of these stats come from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, compiled by Mark J. Perry. The person who posted this, Joseph Brown is his name, asked or said, whoever is in charge of TV prices should be put in charge of healthcare, education, and housing prices. Buddy, I've got news for you. All right, it's time for our poll of the week. I asked you, what do you think of President Trump's handling? What do you think Trump's doing with Minneapolis? I gave you three options. Total failure, sellout, 20%. Total victory, 6.7%. Let's chill out and wait, 66.3% are the responses there. So let's chill out and wait. Everybody just wants to let things play out a little bit. That's in first place. A total failure, sellout is in second place at 20%. In third place, total victory. Very few people think that what's going on in Minneapolis is a total victory. Let's see what you had to say. Wesley has this outcome still under consideration. So you probably voted along the realm of let's chill out and wait. Nate says, possible additional thought if Immigration and Customs Enforcement is withdrawing and DHS is coming in. Does this mean they've reclassified what's going on as terrorism? DHS, I believe, handles anything classified as that. I may be way off base. Department of Homeland Security is the big department over both Border Patrol and Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Tom says, I think that what DJT is doing is strategic. Sending Tom Homan to the Twin Cities is the right message to send at this time. If Minnesota leadership is serious about working with the feds, then this could be considered a victory. Let's watch and see what happens. Jim says, I suspect a sellout on some level, but let's wait and let this play out before hyperventilating. My guess is it'll be a net win for the left and a giant blow to the morale of the right, whatever the plan is. Reagan amnesty 2.0, level of betrayal, but we'll see. Michelle says, I love you, Aaron, but the proper term is illegal aliens. People who enter the country illegally or overstay their visas, etc., are not immigrants. Otherwise, thanks for all you do. I use illegal aliens all the time. I might have misspoke once or twice. You know, I'm trying to juggle about 15 things when I'm talking on the show, but appreciate the precise nature there, but I say illegal aliens all the time. The bottom line is that they're illegally immigrate. Actually, no, you're wrong, Michelle. You can immigrate somewhere illegally. People who came here illegally or are here illegally are illegal. As long as you're putting illegal in front of it, I don't really care what qualifier you use. Kay Adkins says, I'm afraid it'll be closer to total failure sellout than victory. I'm expecting I'll be disappointed. See, this is the way they messaged this the other day is hugely problematic, because even if it is a win, even if Walz and the Democrat leadership in Minnesota are capitulating here, the way that the White House is messaging this, or at least the way that things kind of came out afterwards, now it could be part of a scam or psyop. It certainly seemed, the vibes were not good. We'll put it like that. That's going to do it for a Thursday. Tomorrow's another Ask or Tell Me Anything. You can ask me any question you want. Tell me any news story you think needs covered on the AM Update. Make your submissions. Look for the pin post on X at Real AM Update. Have a great Thursday. Back at it again tomorrow. I'm Aaron McIntyre, and this is the AM Update. Quick postscript here. In case things felt a little scattershot today, I'm in the process of testing what I think could be the next iteration of the AM Update, which means that I've added about 3 or 4 layers of complications when recording this live. Now, I don't do a live show, but I do record this as live. I try to do this all in one take. And so if you felt that if it sounded like it was a little bit scattershot, a little bit discombobulated, that's why, because I've been testing that the last couple of days. So just wanted to give you a heads up. Have a good one. See you tomorrow.